Welcome to Serenity and Fire, the podcast where wellness meets grit. I'm your host, Krista Guidenti, founder of Panacea Luxury Spa Boutique. Join me as we dive into the intriguing world of biohacking, clean living, cutting-edge spa trends, and the hustle, grind, and grit of entrepreneurship. From my personal battles with weight management, infertility, and a 30-year journey to create and launch my dream business, to building a sanctuary for those who have been touched by cancer, I'm here to share real talk, inspire big dreams, and spark a passion for holistic living inside each and every one of you. So let's dive in. Welcome back to Serenity and Fire. Today we're diving into the fascinating world of probiotics, gut and skin microbiomes, and how our gut health is connected to our brain health and development. Terms like pro, and postbiotics, as well as microbiomes and gut-brain health, are all terms that are thrown around a lot in the health and wellness world. But what do they all really mean, and why should you really care about them? Let's start with the basics and do a little microbiome 101. So what is the microbiome? Picture this. Your body is like a bustling city, home to trillions of tiny microorganisms like bacteria, fungi, viruses, and yeasts that live on and inside you. This is your microbiome, a living ecosystem that's as unique as your fingerprint. These microbes are found in your gut, on your skin, in your mouth, and even in your lungs and your urinary tract. They're not just freeloaders. They actually play a huge role in your health in everything from digestion to immunity and even your mood. So let's break down the two key players we're focusing on today, the gut microbiome and the skin microbiome. The gut microbiome lives in your digestive tract, your stomach, and your intestines. It's like a control center that helps break down food, absorb nutrients, regulate your immune system, and even produce neurotransmitters like serotonin that affect your mood. A healthy gut microbiome means less room for harmful bacteria, better digestion, and potentially even clearer skin and a healthier mind. The skin microbiome, on the other hand, is the community of microbes living on your skin's surface. It acts like a protective shield, keeping harmful bacteria at bay and maintaining your skin's barrier. When it's out of balance, say from harsh soaps or stress or things from the environment, you might see issues like dryness, redness, or even acne. The gut and skin microbiomes are connected through what's called the gut-skin axis. For example, an unhealthy gut can lead to inflammation that shows up as skin issues like eczema or acne. So what about the brain? Is there a connection between our gut health and our brain health? And the answer to that is yes. There's actually a strong and increasingly recognized connection between gut health and brain health and development, commonly referred to as the gut-brain axis. This is a communication superhighway between your gastrointestinal tract and your central nervous system. So how does this connection break down? First of all, the gut and the brain are in constant communication with each other, sending signals back and forth through various pathways. The gut has its own complex nervous system, sometimes called the second brain, with more neurons than any other part of the body outside the brain itself. This is called our enteric nervous system. And then there's the vagus nerve. This major nerve acts as a primary communication highway, transmitting signals between the gut and the brain. Gut microbes also produce or influence the production of many neurotransmitters like serotonin, dopamine, and GABA, which are all critical for mood regulation, brain function and focus, and emotional stability. Additionally, the gut microbiome plays a vital role in regulating the immune system. Imbalances can lead to inflammation that can affect the brain and potentially impact neurodevelopment. And finally, gut bacteria produce a variety of metabolites like short-chain fatty acids, which can cross the blood-brain barrier and influence brain development, function, and even our behaviors. So how does this impact our development on the brain? The period from birth to approximately 3 years is particularly critical for the development of both the gut microbiome and the brain, and disruptions during this time can have long-lasting effects. Research suggests a link between gut microbiome imbalances, also known as dysbiosis, and neurodevelopmental disorders like autism spectrum disorder and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Studies show alterations in gut microbiota composition and function in children with autism compared to neurotypical children. A healthy and diverse gut microbiome is crucial for healthy brain development and cognitive function. So what factors really influence the gut-brain axis? First, diet. Maternal and early life nutrition are crucial in shaping the gut microbiome, with factors like breastfeeding and the introduction of solid foods having a significant impact. A balanced diet rich in fiber has been shown to support a healthy gut microbiome. Second, maternal factors. The mother's gut microbiome and factors like obesity, stress, diet, and use of medications during pregnancy can influence fetal brain development. And third, environmental factors. And we talk about this a lot. Environmental exposures, including certain toxins and medications like antibiotics, can affect the developing microbiome and potentially lead to adverse neurodevelopmental outcomes. So in summary, the gut-brain axis highlights the importance of maintaining a healthy gut, especially during critical developmental periods, for promoting optimal brain health and reducing the risk of neurological and psychiatric conditions. A disrupted gut microbiome has been linked to a wide range of neurological and developmental conditions, including ADHD, autism, anxiety, and depression. Research does suggest that individuals with autism often show distinct imbalances in their gut bacteria. While probiotics are not a cure, supporting a healthy gut ecosystem has been shown to ease symptoms like digestive distress, irritability, and sleep challenges in both children and adults. For those navigating neurodivergent conditions, nurturing the microbiome becomes a powerful, integrated part of holistic care. So as you can see, a balanced microbiome is key to overall wellness, and that's where probiotics come into play, which is why we're having this conversation today. So let's dive into what they are and how they work. According to ISAP, which is the International Scientific Association for Probiotics and Prebiotics, with the growing interest in gut health, you're likely to come across many different products with probiotics on the label. But even if you see the word probiotic on a product label, what's inside might not actually be the real thing. Probiotics are often misunderstood, and many people have questions about what they are and whether they might be helpful. So here's a summary of what scientists know about probiotics and how they work. Probiotics are live microorganisms that improve your health when taken in the right amounts. Think good bacteria and yeast, which provide health benefits when consumed or applied in adequate amounts. They're like reinforcements for your microbiome, helping to restore balance when things go off kilter. But not every live microorganism in a food product or supplement is actually a probiotic. To qualify as a probiotic, the amount and types of live microorganisms must be known, and they must be scientifically tested to provide a specific benefit. Safe live microbes that haven't been tested this way are not called probiotics. Instead, they're called live cultures. Probiotics can be found in a variety of food products, such as yogurt or infant formula, or even in dietary supplements. Generally, the live microorganisms found in fermented foods, such as kimchi and miso, are not considered probiotics because they're a wild mixture of microorganisms at an unknown dose. So how do we know? One clue that a live microorganism is a true probiotic is that it has one or more strain names listed on the label. Strain names come in three parts: the genus, the species, and the strain designation. For example, Bifidobacterium infantis AB42. So think of it like a first name, middle name, and a last name. And that's something that you always want to look for when you're looking for probiotics on your labels. For your gut, probiotics can crowd out bad bacteria. They take up space and resources, leaving less room for those harmful microbes. They can also strengthen the gut barrier. This prevents toxins from leaking into your bloodstream and thereby reducing inflammation. They can also boost immunity. Over 70% of your immune cells live in your gut, and probiotics help train them to fight pathogens while tolerating friendly microbes. And probiotics can aid in digestion. They help break down nutrients and can ease issues like bloating or diarrhea, especially in conditions like irritable bowel syndrome or IBS. For your skin, probiotics, whether taken orally or applied topically, can reduce inflammation. This helps with conditions like acne, rosacea, or eczema. They can also strengthen the skin barrier. So probiotics like Streptococcus thermophilus can boost ceramide production, which keeps skin hydrated and protects against environmental stressors like UV rays or pollution. And for your skin, probiotics can balance the skin microbiome. This can reduce redness, dryness, or breakouts, giving you that healthy glow that we all seek so desperately. Probiotics don't just sit there on the skin. They produce substances like short-chain fatty acids or antimicrobial peptides that fight off bad bacteria and support your body's natural defenses. So you've probably heard people talking about or throwing around the terms prebiotics and postbiotics in addition to probiotics, and you've wondered what the difference is between all of them. And this is important, so let's talk about it a little bit. So prebiotics are specialized plant fibers that selectively stimulate the growth and or activity of beneficial microorganisms already residing in the colon. Think of them as food or fertilizer for the good bacteria in your gut. They're not living organisms themselves. Prebiotics can be found in foods like garlic, onions, bananas, asparagus, and whole grains. And then there's probiotics. So again, these are live microorganisms, mainly beneficial bacteria and some yeasts, that when consumed in those adequate amounts can provide health benefits to the body like we just discussed. These live cultures help maintain a balanced gut microbiome by reinforcing the population of good bacteria and potentially displacing harmful ones. Probiotics can be found in fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, and some aged cheeses. They can also be taken as supplements. And then you have your postbiotics. These are functional bioactive compounds created by probiotics when they break down prebiotics and other nutrients. They're essentially the healthy byproducts of fermentation carried out by the gut microbiome. Examples of postbiotics include short-chain fatty acids like butyrate, acetate, and propionate, along with other compounds such as peptides, enzymes, and vitamins. Postbiotics contribute to gut health by reducing inflammation, enhancing the gut barrier function, supporting the immune system, and influencing metabolic processes. So prebiotics feed probiotics, which in turn produce those postbiotics through fermentation. While each component offers its own benefits, they often work together to support a healthy gut. Combining prebiotics and probiotics, which is known as symbiotics, can be particularly effective because the prebiotics help the probiotics to thrive. And prebiotics, probiotics, and postbiotics also exist and function on the skin just like they do in the gut. Using microbiome-friendly products can help restore balance for clients who are struggling with things like rosacea, acne, sensitive skin, post-procedure barrier repair, and dry or eczema-prone skin. These ingredients are especially great in facials, masks, and serums where results-driven and gentle need to coexist. For example, one of the skincare lines we carry at Panacea Luxury Spa Boutique is Eminence's Kombucha Microbiome Balancing product line. This line is about supporting your skin's microbiome, and it's perfect for anyone chasing that radiant, balanced glow. The collection includes products like the Kombucha Microbiome Leave-On Mask and the Balancing Essence, which are formulated with prebiotics, probiotics, and postbiotics. I personally use the Balancing Essence, and I love that product so much. So here's the breakdown of what's in these products. First off, they have prebiotics in them, like inulin, and these feed the good bacteria on your skin, keeping the microbiome balanced. Again, think of prebiotics as the fertilizer that helps your skin's natural flora thrive. And then you have your probiotics, like Lactococcus ferment lysate, also known as LFL. These aren't live cultures, but they do support the skin's barrier, they repair dryness, and they also maintain healthy-looking skin. In these products, we also have postbiotics like kombucha ferment, which is derived from fermented black tea, and these nourish the skin by boosting smoothness and luminosity. Even though postbiotics are not alive, they still signal your skin to repair, hydrate, and protect itself. And there are some other goodies in this product line like ginger root, white tea, and jasmine flower, which soothe irritation and combat dullness. It's really a luxurious way to biohack your skincare routine, and it fits perfectly into the clean beauty ethos that we love so much at Panacea Luxury Spa Boutique. So earlier I mentioned that the probiotics need to be live cultures, but I also just mentioned that in the Kombucha Microbiome line that the probiotics in that line are not live. So what's the scoop? Do they need to be live or do they not need to be live? And what about our prebiotics? So the prebiotics and the probiotics, as we know, function differently in the gut. And whether they need to be live to be effective depends on their nature. So when we look at prebiotics, these do not need to be live cultures. Prebiotics are non-digestible dietary fibers that act as food for the beneficial bacteria already present in your gut. They're not living organisms themselves. When consumed, prebiotics pass through the digestive system largely undigested until they reach the colon, where they're fermented by the gut bacteria. This fermentation process produces short-chain fatty acids, like I mentioned earlier, and other compounds that nourish beneficial bacteria, helping them to grow and thrive. Therefore, prebiotics do not need to be live cultures to be effective. They serve as nourishment for the live cultures or the probiotics already residing in or introduced to the gut. So when we talk about probiotics, generally they must be live cultures, but there are some cases where that is not true, and we'll talk about that here in just a minute. But generally, probiotics are live microorganisms that, when administered in those adequate amounts, confer a health benefit to the host. According to the International Scientific Association of Prebiotics and Probiotics, a key criterion for a substance to be considered a probiotic is that it must contain live microorganisms. These living microbes colonize the gut and interact with the existing microbiota, contributing to a balanced gut ecosystem. When evaluating probiotic supplements of foods, look for labels that specify the number of live cultures in CFUs, or colony-forming units. The National Institute of Health recommends checking for products labeled with the CFU count at the end of the product's shelf life, not just at the time of manufacture, to ensure viability, because the cultures do tend to lose their potency over time. So you really do want to look at the product shelf life to make sure that you're getting cultures that are actually live. So when we look at postbiotics are defined as a preparation of an inanimate microorganism and or their components that confers a health benefit to the host. They're essentially the beneficial byproducts of probiotic activity, as we've already discussed. And while probiotics are generally live bacteria, postbiotics consist of dead or inactivated microbial cells, cell fragments, or their metabolites. Research on postbiotics is still ongoing, but studies suggest that they can offer similar benefits to live probiotics, particularly in areas like immune modulation and anti-inflammatory effects. For example, one study found that feeding heat-killed D3-5 to older mice helped prevent metabolic dysfunctions associated with high-fat diets, reduced leaky gut and inflammation, and improved physical and cognitive functions. Postbiotics may also offer a safer alternative for individuals with weakened immune systems for whom live probiotics could pose a risk. Therefore, while probiotics must be live to exert their full range of benefits, prebiotics do not, and the emerging field of postbiotics indicates that even non-viable microbial components can be beneficial. So earlier when I talked about Eminence's kombucha line, I talked about how the probiotic in that product line is the Lactococcus ferment lysate, which is not a live probiotic. So when we talk about LFL, or Lactococcus ferment lysate, does it still provide benefits? And the answer is yes. It can provide benefits to your skin even though it's not a live probiotic. And so why is that? That's because it's actually classified as a postbiotic ingredient, meaning it's derived from probiotic bacteria that have been broken down through a fermentation process. And here's how LFL can help your skin. It can help maintain and strengthen your skin barrier function, which is crucial for protecting the skin from environmental damage, retaining moisture, and reducing sensitivity and dryness. It also may help improve the skin's ability to resist external stressors and compromising influences. And LFL is believed to have soothing properties that can help reduce skin irritation and inflammation, making it potentially beneficial for sensitive or reactive skin types. Some research even suggests it may offer potential anti-aging benefits by mitigating visible sun damage and helping skin resist visible signs of aging caused by sun exposure. As a postbiotic, LFL supports a healthy skin microbiome by promoting beneficial bacterial growth and inhibiting harmful bacteria. And finally, studies, including those cited by manufacturers, indicate that LFL can improve skin hydration, reduce water loss, optimize surface pH, promote skin cell renewal, and potentially increase skin thickness. It's important to note that while research on LFL is promising, more independent studies are needed to fully validate all of the claimed benefits and mechanisms of actions. But from what we can tell so far, the data and the clinical results that we're seeing in clients are very promising. So in summary, while LFL isn't a live probiotic, its postbiotic nature allows it to deliver benefits by interacting with the skin in various ways that support its health, barrier function, and resilience. So definitely stop by Panacea when you have time and pick up some of the Eminence kombucha product line. So how do you know if your gut microbiome is even out of balance in the first place? Or if you're experiencing dysbiosis, which again is the imbalance of your gut microbiome. Determining this often involves observing a combination of symptoms, both digestive and non-digestive. While some symptoms can be subtle, persistent or severe issues should prompt a consultation with a healthcare professional, such as a gastroenterologist. Digestive issues are often the first and most obvious indicator of gut imbalance, so things like bloating and gas. If you're feeling this frequently and having excessive gas even after normal meals, this could indicate that certain bacteria are producing too much gas during fermentation. And then when you look at frequent diarrhea, chronic constipation, or alternating between the two, this can also be signs that your gut microbiota isn't regulating digestion properly. And if you have persistent or unexplained pain in your abdomen, this should definitely be investigated, as it can be linked to inflammation or imbalances in the gut. Frequent heartburn or indigestion might also be related to gut microbiota interacting with acid production or impacting how your gut handles stress and food processing. So that can also be a sign that your microbiome is out of balance. And then developing new or increased sensitivities to foods that you previously tolerated could be a sign of a compromised gut lining or dysbiosis affecting how your body processes certain foods. And then beyond digestive symptoms, There are also non-digestive symptoms. So an imbalanced gut microbiome can also manifest in other parts of the body, for example, with fatigue. Feeling persistently tired or sluggish, even with adequate sleep, might be linked to how gut microbes influence nutrient absorption and inflammation, which are important for energy production. Skin issues can also be a non-digestive symptom. So conditions like eczema, acne, psoriasis, or unexplained rashes can sometimes be traced back to poor gut health and inflammation due to the gut-skin axis. And unexplained weight changes can also be a sign. So when you're noticing unintentional weight gain or loss, particularly when dietary and exercise routines remain consistent, this might be influenced by microbes affecting how the body extracts energy from food and stores fat. And then you have mood shifts and mental health. Mood fluctuations, anxiety, depression, or brain fog can be related to the gut-brain axis, as gut microbes help produce and regulate neurotransmitters like serotonin and GABA. Frequent illness or weakened immunity can also be a sign. Since a significant portion of the immune system resides in the gut, imbalances can lead to a less effective immune response, potentially resulting in more frequent infections or illnesses. And then there's sugar cravings. An unhealthy balance of gut bacteria, particularly those that thrive on sugar, can influence cravings for sugary foods. So while occasional digestive issues are common, it's important to consult with a healthcare professional if you're experiencing persistent or chronic digestive symptoms that are impacting your daily life, if you have severe abdominal pain, if you have blood in your stool or vomiting blood, unexplained weight loss or gain, and then significant changes in bowel patterns that are lasting and are unusual for you. A doctor or a gastroenterologist can definitely evaluate your symptoms, consider your medical history, and determine if further testing, such as stool analysis or other diagnostic tools, are needed in order to identify the root cause of your symptoms. They can then work with you to develop a plan to improve your gut health through dietary changes, lifestyle modifications, or other treatments if necessary. To wrap up for today's episode, how do you biohack your microbiome? Start with a balanced diet. Load up on those fiber-rich foods like fruits, veggies, and whole grains to feed your good bacteria. And if you need supplements, choose high-quality ones with specific strains for your needs, and always check with a healthcare professional. For your skin, consider products like Eminence's Kombucha Microbiome Collection to support that glow. And don't forget, consistency is key. Probiotics work best when taken regularly. At Panacea Luxury Spa Boutique, we're all about helping you feel your best. So if you have more questions, message into the show and I'll do my best to get you the answers you are looking for. But try incorporating these tips into your routine and let us know how it goes. And before we wrap up, I just want to reiterate that I am not a medical professional and nothing I've shared today on Serenity and Fire is intended to make any kind of diagnosis or clinical recommendations. Everything I share, as always, is for general information purposes only and does not constitute the practice of medicine, nursing, or other professional healthcare services. The use of information from this podcast is at your own risk. The content of this podcast and anything we talk about on Serenity and Fire is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult with your healthcare professional before trying any of the things we talk about on Serenity and Fire. You also should not disregard or delay obtaining medical advice for any medical condition you may have as a result of anything discussed on Serenity and Fire, and you should seek the assistance of your healthcare professional for any such conditions. Okay, that's it for today's episode. Remember, if you want to start biohacking your way to better health, start at Panacea Luxury Spa Boutique. You'll save 10% on a hyperbaric oxygen therapy session or a whole body LED light therapy session when you book your first treatment using the code Serenity10. And don't forget to leave us a review and hit subscribe on the Serenity and Fire show wherever you get your podcasts. This helps us reach more people like you so we can spread the word of health and wellness to the masses. Until next time, keep balancing serenity with fire. I'm Krista Guageni, and I'll talk with you in our next episode.